SMT Nation, we back. Nation, we got the Q4 2023 earnings for Verizon. Earnings season kicks off with Big Red, and some of the numbers are really, really good. I was blindsided by one of them. Let me tell you guys what surprised me to the upside in a big way. So there's several things that are excellent. We're just going to take a look at the PDF that Verizon provides on the investors relations page. And it's got it's just the infographic. There's more content to look at. You know, they obviously have like a full disclosure for all their investors, but for the most part, this has like 95% of what we need. We'll talk more later in more details. I just want to kind of do the outside look, just the general look at the quarter so we can get the sentiment and get some of the guidance for next year. All right, I'll be sure to link the investors relations page in the description for you guys to check out some of the other numbers or some other materials. Ways to support us, show your appreciation for the content down in the description. All right, guys. Q4 2023. Verizon kicks us off. AT&T tomorrow, and then you have T-Mobile after that. I think it's going to be a big earnings season for all carriers. I think they're going to show incredible growth, profitability, margins, revenues. They'll all be there because based on Verizon's results, that's what we have. All right, so looking at some of the financial stuff. All right, consolidated cash flows for Verizon came in at $37.5 billion for the year. That is up from 2022, so that's a good number. CapEx at $18.8 billion. You see a drop off compared to last year, $23.1 billion, the big investment into C-band. Those things are going to start to relax a little bit. Those are things that investors like. Free cash flow for the year came in at $18.7 billion. To B's dismay, he projected a little bit higher. Looks like Verizon spent a little more money to get customers, to acquire customers, to be promotionally active in Q4, but they were rewarded for it, and I'll explain why in a second. So free cash flows last year were at $14 billion. You got $18 billion, almost $19 billion here. Investors really, really like that. Free cash flow is king. Dividends paid, $11 billion, right? You see an increase in it, modest increase, just a commitment to the investor, right? So when an investor looks at these numbers, that looks good. That would probably explain why the stock is popping pre-market. So I'm going to just take a look to see where it's at currently. It's plus 5.7%. And the earnings have been out for 20 minutes. That's a good response. I don't know if it's going to stay like that. I don't do it financial advice, guys. I'm just saying what I see. All right. Anyways, let's take a look at some of the other stuff. You've got the consolidated revenues there. Slight decline year over year, Q4. Full year decline of 2%. Right. So probably looking for a bounce back for 2024. Adjusted EBITDA decline of 0.6%. Full year decline of 0.2%. The earnings per share, a decline of 9.2%, and then a full year decline of 9.1%. So those consolidated revenues and EPSs, those numbers don't seem good, but the market doesn't seem to care. I'm telling you guys, cash flow king. All right, looking at revenue summaries, these are for wireless services, growth of 3.2% quarter over quarter, Q4. That's good. Full year growth of 3.2%. Total consumer had growth of 0.7%. Full year growth was actually negative, decline of 1.8%. So that's on the consumer side. The business side, that had a decline of 3.6% for the quarter, year over year, and then for the full year, a decline of 3.1%. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be a problem moving forward. I'm not sure if this is an indication of the future trajectory, but that does show a little bit of weakness in the business side, something to monitor in the future. Now, for Q4, the stuff that we care about on our channel, broadband net additions of 413,000. All right, 375 fixed wireless access net additions. That's the 5G home internet. So we have growth there, people, hanging around that 400,000 mark, right? 375 for fixed. You have 55,000 for Fios. I think those are good numbers. I think that's sustainable through the rest of the year. You're going to see similar numbers to this. Some quarters might be better. Total wireless retail connections are now at 144.8 million connections. That's an increase. A lot of people say Verizon doesn't add connections. That's an increase. Wireless retail postpaid churn at 1.18. the wireless retail postpaid churn at 0.93. That's a bit of a spike. They went from 0.90 to 0.93 quarter in successive quarters, so from Q3 to Q4. So those might be, something there. This is the number that shocked me, folks. Wireless postpaid phone net additions, 449,000 net adds. Folks, those are AT&T numbers. But I want to make sure I mention this. AT&T does not have the ARPU Verizon does. This is a huge number. That's really good. People say that Verizon can't grow. They're not aggressive. They were aggressive in Q4. I don't expect this or anything near this remotely in the realm of the same universe with Q1 24. But Verizon has shown that they can grow, and what they put together when they try works. I just want to throw that out there. So they grew. We'll see what folks have to say about that number. That is incredible. Total wireless revenue growth projected for 2024. These are the 24 projections. 2% to 3.5%. EBITDA growth 1 to 3%. Adjusted earnings per share 450 to 470. Adjusted effective income tax rate of 22.5 to 24%. CapEx is tracking between 17 billion and 17.5 billion. All right, now to kind of summarize the quarter in terms of service revenues. They got a new leadership team. They got a regional distribution model that should help them be nimble and responsive. Met financial guidance. They mentioned here the launch of My Plan, net add accretive. Now we actually saw it happen, right? So that's good. Improved performance in consumer mobility. That's the net adds. Strong momentum in Verizon Business. I don't know if I agree with that based on those numbers. I don't know. Free cash flows at 18.7 billion might end up being industry best. Excuse me. It might end up being industry best. We'll see what AT&T has with regards to free cash flows. I don't expect T-Mobile to top either AT&T or Verizon in that metric, but we'll see how it goes. Strong national broadband base. You're adding 400,000+ fixed wireless customers every quarter. So that's a positive headwind. They're still gaining in Fios. We like to see that increase. They got full spectrum access to C-band and new 5G solutions and private network businesses. That's forward-looking. I don't know how meaningful it is, but that's the quarter. We're going to do another follow-up video to this. We'll look at more of the details as they become available, and I'm going to listen into the earnings call and see what we can learn about the quarter that happened and the quarters in the future for 2024. All right, so some really pleasant surprises. I think really the big thing here, guys, people have been calling for those wireless phone net adds. People thought they were going to lose customers again. People thought that they weren't going to grow. I only projected like 150 to 200,000. I thought they were going to be active. They crushed my projection, so I have to eat crow. They had 3x the growth I projected. That's really, really good. The churn, a little concerning, right? It's increasing a bit, but they're still adding customers. So, I don't know. Take it as you will, guys. Let's hear what you have to say on it. Comment down below. You're the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.